I own an Xbox Series X, a PS5, and a PC. I know a lot of people are not in a position where they can do that, but I do. I like different things about all of them. The console wars and all that stuff is cringe. It always has been, but especially is in 2022. And also, I do not endorse harassment of anyone we talk about here. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Don't contact the author. That's what they want. They want the attention. You know me, I am always down to clown on some of these gaming journalist types. You know, these people who clout chased off of the adpocalypse. They ran the whole Gamergate, oh my gosh, that whole thing. And ran it really into the ground for like years at a time and still try and bring that narrative back. Or the time with pretty much any YouTuber where they just kept picking and picking and picking because they're so butthurt that people would rather watch gaming journalism videos from entertainers, not journalists. They hate us. You know, you have to understand. And they hate you. They really, really do. They constantly lump gamers in with the worst parts of society, whether it be racists or violent people or misogynists or alt-right, all these different things that they throw around. So I am, of course, always happy to help push the shovel into the ground just a foot further and pull up my own clump of dirt for digging the grave of official games journalism. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. I appreciate you. We are over 109,000 subs now. That's thanks to you. Here's the funniest thing I've seen in a while because Xbox obliterated Kotaku on Twitter. Twitter has its moments. It really does. It is a hellscape, but this was hilarious because Kotaku decided to take a pot shot at Xbox Game Pass. They tried to say that people are burning out of Xbox Game Pass, which even if you're not a fan of Xbox, is a ridiculous statement. I mean, this is a huge deal every month. I know that the games journalism people pretty much all use it because when they can't get a free copy of something from the past, it's really easy to actually, you know, get going on it with Game Pass. But also, it is something that has a lot of active users every month. So they said that the Game Pass burnout is here. They went on to make a whole article about this, about how a few people said that they weren't interested in Game Pass anymore. I have archived that article. It is in the description down below. So if you want to read that article without giving Kotaku ad money or impressions, you click there. It is in the Internet Archive. It is basically a screenshotted, saved version of what they tried to say. And it's really funny because Xbox Game Pass swooped in and whoever's running the social media over there just completely decided, I'm not going easy. We're pulling out the big one here and we're going all the way in. Tell me you limit yourself to only AAA games without telling me you limit yourself to only AAA games. And now this might seem like obviously like a jokey clout statement from Xbox. That's how all these things are on social media. But what's funny to me is just how people rallied behind it. You had a like ratio on here of, when I took a picture of this, it was like 2,600 something to about 37,000 people liking Xbox Game Pass's tweet because people hate Kotaku. It is a trash website. Seriously, in my opinion, it is one of the worst, most lazy, least researched, and most opinion-based websites out there in terms of gaming news or whatever you want to call it. I even weighed in on this, and I truly stand by what I said. Kotaku should go back to their days of making comments and articles about how the Cards Against Humanity creator or other men who have false SA allegations levied against them, you know, the naughty touching kind of non-consensual varieties, which is a trigger word for YouTube for some reason. When they have those falsely claimed against them, not truly, but falsely, they shouldn't deny it. What they should do is use it as a talking point to draw attention to victims of assault. This is the kind of website Kotaku is. It is like the most virtue-signaling, grandstanding piece of garbage rag, in my opinion, out there. It is bad. It's just bad. And I always throw this in here with, you know, when we talk about Kotaku. Alex from Podcast Now and I did a video a little while back on some of Kotaku's greatest shits. They're not hits. They are definitely shits of some of their worst takes they've had. Of course, they are from different authors over the years, but it is all really published through Kotaku. And it's not like YouTube. It's not like YouTube where you have just a general platform and you have thousands or millions of people uploading videos every day. There's no oversight, nothing. No, these are people paid to upload to Kotaku, either through freelance or through a staff position. They are paid to offer these greatest shits. So it's really funny to take a look down memory lane at what Kotaku has done in the past. That's going to be in the description below as well. There's a reason I hate them. There's a reason most people hate them. And I always tell this story. I was originally going to work for them. So if you want to see a bias in this or whatever, that's totally fine. But it is a pretty funny situation where I actually applied to be a freelance writer at Kotaku in college when I was working on my writing degree. And it was during a time period where they were already overstaffed. This was back during, I guess this would be 5, 6, 7 years ago, 7-ish years ago, maybe 8. So Kotaku was doing a lot better at that time. Okay, it's worth mentioning. And I applied during sort of a time when they were overstaffed. They weren't actually hiring. And they said, hey, we love your work. We love what you did here. We love your writing style. You should reapply here in a couple months because we're going to be losing a bunch of people. And we're going to be losing a bunch of freelancers and some staff positions. Reapply then, and we'll keep you on file. So it was something where they wanted me to come back, reapply, blah, 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 blah. I luckily lucked into a position at my college and at somewhere else. I was working many jobs in college where I made much, much more money than I would have working as a freelance at Kotaku. So I dodged a bullet there, but it's really weird to look back at the butterfly effect of what could have been, because sometimes I think I could have been one of these idiots, and it's kind of scary. Now, whenever something like this comes up, people pile on it for the console wars crap, which is cringe. It's 2022. And I have my own opinions on Xbox Game Pass that are both positive and negative. I said, very good deal, lots of stuff on it. It's constantly changing, so that's good and bad. Sometimes you lose stuff you want to play. Sometimes you gain new stuff you never knew about. And like Xbox Game Pass pointed out, it's not just about AAA games. They also draw a lot of attention and eyes to indie games and indie game developers, as well as smaller studios. But, I have my own problems with Xbox Game Pass too. I do think, for example, that the digital future, to me, is scary. I don't like it. I want to be able to own discs. I want to be able to buy physical copies of games. I have no problem spending my hard-earned money on a physical copy of a game or a movie that I enjoy. However, even with that argument, Xbox Game Pass is great to test something out. If I want to play a game and I want to decide if it's worth my $70 to buy a physical disc of it for me, if it's on Game Pass, why wouldn't I try it out? It's like renting something from the days of Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or any of those old video and video game rental services, or Redbox if you want a modern day example. There's really nothing wrong with using it however you choose to use it. Personally, I like the physical stuff, cartridges, consoles that play discs themselves, Blu-rays and 4Ks for movies and stuff like that. That's what I prefer, but these all have their use. I don't want them to replace physical, but I think that they're good for what they are, and I just think you should offer both. So I do agree in some cases where people say, well, Xbox Game Pass could set a bad precedent by making everything digital or by making people feel like they don't have to pay for anything or this or that. Yeah, sure. You have a point. I am not disagreeing with you, but I just think it's funny that Kotaku, of all people, is trying to take weird moral high grounds in their statements and coverage of stuff and trying to point out the faults in other companies when they're the most faulty company, in my opinion, that I can really think of in terms of just being, I genuinely believe that they are just often very dishonest and spin things to try and make them look good and try and make gamers and video game companies look bad. I'm always down to see someone dunk on them and make fun of them. I would never endorse harassment of the author. I would never endorse doxing or physical harm or anything like that. But these ideas that they always spread, they deserve to be laughed at. Kotaku is a joke that deserves to be laughed at as a punchline, not as a serious games journalism outlet. They've never been that, or at least they haven't been in probably 7 or 8, 9, 10 years. They just really haven't. And I really don't think they're ever going to be again. So Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this whole thing? What are your thoughts on Game Pass? I know we've talked about it a few times. A long time ago, before anyone watched this channel, I talked about how I actually thought it was an overhyped piece of crap, actually. Believe it or not, I talked about, I think it was a video, something like, is Xbox Game Pass going to be like the Netflix of Xbox, or is it going to be a failure? And I kind of talked about how I thought the promises they made were very, very lofty and probably not going to be delivered on. I'm going to be honest, I was wrong. They delivered on a lot of their promises, and even despite the problems I have with their service, I think it's a pretty robust, good service. I'm interested to hear your thoughts down below there. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. If you want to see some of Kotaku's greatest shits, those will be in the description down below. And also, I am going to be including down there in the description both of our other channels where I do music tributes with movies, games, and characters and fictional stuff, which I'm going to be working on more, along with Degenerate Plays, where we're playing through a ton of different games together, hanging out with you. And then we've got all the normal stuff like the Patreon, the social medias, which we're trying to make a little more robust, and of course, Enchanted Glamor, which my wife runs, which goes to help support the channel as well. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day, everyone. And as always, stay shui. And do not get on the wrong side of the Xbox Game Pass Twitter account, or they will apparently blow you out of the water. It is no mercy over there, folks.